Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hewkii and Flammeus show. As you can see, I've got my pilot headset on right now. It's because I don't have access to my recording equipment. I'm dog sitting for the weekend, so pardon me looking a little bit ridiculous and the sound quality not being exactly up to par with what you're used to, but
It's
I
better than
think
an actual pilot.
indeed,
It's
indeed.
it's not too
So
bad.
on the show today, we have Mathias Love, who is a friend of mine, lived with me for many years, and active member in the spiritual community of Iceland. He's a musician, he's a painter, visual artist, DJ,
DJ.
and just an overall cool guy. We went into a lot of discussions around music and dancing and expression and travel. Went
And
deep
rainbow
on
gatherings.
rainbow gatherings. We went into psychedelics, highlighting both the potential for good and also the potential pitfalls and dangers.
Yeah, and the positives of or the impact, the positive impact psychedelics can have, and the positive impact that sobriety can have as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So we're kind of surfing the waves of balance around those topics, and yeah, I don't think there's a lot more to say. I think
That's all. We
that's
hope you
all.
enjoyed the conversation as much as we did.
Indeed. So enjoy, Matthias Love. Welcome to the
Hey.
show, Matthias Love.
Hello, hello. How are you doing,
Um,
guys?
we're doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, pretty good.
Nice.
Nice.
Thanks for
First time
coming
on a
over.
podcast.
Yeah,
Oh,
welcome. It's a fun experience to kind of
Yeah,
you feel almost feel like you got to censor yourself a little bit, or at least
yeah,
that's how I felt the first time I did a podcast. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna try not to get canceled. That's all.
yeah. You can just see him holding it in, trying his best to not let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm curious. The name Matthias Love, it reminds me of like when you play video games like World of Warcraft, you kill the last boss, the Lich King, and you become the Kingslayer. Like how much love do you have to make to gain the title Matthias Love?
No, I killed the previous guy who was named Love, and I got his name. That's how it is. Love is all
Uh,
about killing.
oh, okay, okay, that puts it into perspective. I was wondering if it's like heavy at times, like fuck, man. Now today I was not very loving. I'm like Matthias hate today.
Well, love comes in many forms. Like
Right?
sometimes hate is just like kind of like just a gateway to love.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because
Sometimes.
love is like all of the emotions simultaneously. It's the whole spectrum, like how
Yeah.
white is the whole color spectrum.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So
melancholy and sadness and grief can also be or are fundamentally a part of love.
exactly.
Yeah. It's like Ramdas says, is God in drag,
Oh yeah.
or in the Hinduism, the million masks of God. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
Well, we didn't necessarily come here to start that conversation exactly. Maybe Matthias, start us into who you are. What are you doing? We were going to talk about your music and stuff. I want to get into
That's
that.
nice. Who I am. Wow, that's like I'm God in drag. Yeah. Who am I? I'm just a guy, I'm just doing my thing. No, I'm just what am I? I guess I'm a musician first. I'm an artist, I like to think of myself as an artist, making whatever it is, making paintings, making music, making people dance, people sing, that's what I want to do really,
Are those your paintings behind you?
I was just gonna say, those are some
yeah.
of your paintings
So
behind you.
Yeah.
yeah, I got a bunch of them, but they're like stored in different places. This one is a
Uh-huh.
good one, it's like a portal to a thing. This is a bunch of mushrooms. Eat me
Nice.
uh, upside down, but um, yeah, I'm just When I'm bored of painting, I go to music, and when I'm bored of music, I go to painting. And it's just you gotta keep it fresh and fun. Otherwise, it's just what's the point?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's good to be able to jump between because it's I don't got the painting skills and sometimes I get bored of music, so like
Mhm. And you don't have anything else to do, so you just lie around being bored of music until you're not bored of music.
essentially,
Ah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
Pick
my
up a
life.
brush, bro. Pick up a brush. You'll be fine. You know?
I've started at some point. I've tried to get started on the path of painting, and I actually enjoy the fact that I still have that left because it's like it's fun to be not good at stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you get good.
Yeah,
It's like in
that's
Adventure Time, no? Sucking at something is the first step to being good at something.
right, right. Jake the dog,
Big dog.
the wisest person.
Exactly.
Yeah. I keep bringing this up, I feel like, but I got this harmonica here for Christmas, and that's been my recent journey of doing something that I haven't done before, learning something just from the ground up. I realize this still has something to do with music, obviously. So maybe this wouldn't be right for you, Helgi. Maybe you need to pick up
Well, actually, no,
jigsaw puzzling or something.
it actually does work within the realms of music. I've been doing the same with the drum kit,
Ah,
trying to
yeah.
get the hang of that, and it's so different from playing the guitar because with the guitar you're kind of synchronizing two hands, but then like bringing 2 feet into the equation, it's like it's an entirely different ball game. So,
And like playing organ also in the church, that's crazy. Like when I
yeah.
see players, like
Yeah.
how many can you reach? Like how many brains do you need to do it?
Like two keyboards and 70 pedals.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Almost
That's
like
yeah. This is a
musical
basic
spiders
Sunday. Yeah.
or octopi. There's limbs going all over the place.
They're like they're like Shiva in that one, or it was one of the Hindu gods, like with
I
that
think
like
it's Shiva,
the cosmic centipede.
but that's only hands though, right?
Mm,
I
perhaps
think
I
he
don't.
only has 2 feet, so like I mean he can still play the organ though.
Yeah, yeah. He probably has a hand for every key on the organ.
Yeah.
Honestly.
One finger per note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too easy, bro.
Yeah. You gotta nerf yourself down to the human level. That's where the fun is at, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. So you've been working on like ecstatic dance music and creating music for that stuff?
Yeah,
Uh,
but then I always go back to like making like some hardcore like crazy stuff just in between, because again, like I get bored of like this ecstatic like tribal style, and so I need something a bit more like grungy, a bit French electro kind of vibe.
yeah.
So
Like
I always make.
techno?
Hmm?
Like techno?
Not so much techno, more like I would say house, but like something that bounce. It doesn't have to be house, and something that makes me like dance. If it's just not making me move, like what's the point? It needs to have groove, you know.
Yeah.
And when I do ecstatic dance music, it's just yeah, it's usually Afro beats and like half time dubstep kind of vibe, but with like more like flutes and yeah, stuff like this. Like
And dubstep, that's it's a broad term because back in the day dubstep kind of just referred to kind of this kind of dubby, kind of slow UK thing. And then Skrillex came around and it just became,
yeah,
all that stuff.
Felix is all like very high stuff and but then now there's like new dubstep that is very like sub bass stuff, and that's
But
very
that's more like the original
yeah.
dubstep sound. It was kind of more
I would
kind
say
of
that I'm
UK.
not really going there. I'm more going like tribal vibe and more like I put like Moroccan and Arabic, Spanish, Indian style, kind of hippie style, let's say.
Yeah, kind of human with human voices in there
Yeah, a little bit.
and
I like I
More
like
organic.
I like sounds with not too many lyrics also, like so the dance floor doesn't get like influenced by somebody like talking bullshit or whatever. It's just some songs are just depressing, like
Hmm.
and like I would never put this on the dance floor. It's just like like songs about being lonely and being like sad and everything, and people are like, don't get it, but
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
I guess there's a time and a place for that when you are feeling lonely and sad and you need like to be heard or something, but it's usually not on the dance floor, I guess.
exactly,
Unless you're
exactly.
kind of dancing by yourself in the corner.
Like, this is my song. I'm lonely, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
for all the lonely people.
All the
That actually,
lonely people.
where do they all come from? So that's an interesting question, actually. I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about?
We're trying to talking
Uh,
about kind of conceptualizing, not putting too many concepts and lyrics into
yeah,
the dance floor and keeping it kind of mostly non-verbal.
Mm.
Because people's mind, they begin to interact with lyrics and start to make up stuff, and I think it tends to maybe put people into their heads a little bit.
I know I do.
Yeah,
When I'm listening to lyrics, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about my past and my stuff, and like, oh, I
yeah,
just listen to music and feel it.
Mm.
yeah,
But interesting that you say that sad music doesn't belong on the dance floor. I think that was what I was going to ask before.
I mean, it's not that it doesn't belong. I don't put it on the dance floor myself. Um,
But it made me think, what does sad music have to be like to work for the dance floor? Because it can't be like a ballad that has no rhythm to it. It's got to be a sad song with a little bit of oomph to really
yeah, I
work.
mean, a song with minor chords, and like that works. There's no like people actually kind of prefer minor tracks than major tracks. Usually.
Mm.
There's like, okay, it's nice to mix them up, but there's something like cool about minor chords in a track. It's kind of like
Yeah,
but if
yeah.
there's like, I mean, just
Darker vibe.
darker vibe and like that's good, but like the sadness of certain lyrics, it just makes people think on the dance floor, and that's not really why they come to the dance. They come to have fun and share a good moment with friends. So to I mean, it's good to keep it real, but to keep it positive when I'm doing my stuff
I,
is the important part also. Like we have enough of like hardship and sadness in our everyday life that I have to bring it to the people paying to see to come and to dance. So I want them to have a good time, positive time.
but okay, I want to ask about your concept of music theory as it relates to you creating your music, because you spoke of using minor and major alternatingly, so that or that mixing them was good for a DJ set. Um, how else do you use music theory, and how else does it shape your music creation? Are you very aware of like the theory behind what you're
I never
creating?
really had classes of music myself, so I just kind of feel it. Like I usually starts with, if I create something, I usually start with a groove, like some drums or some bass line, and then I will find like some samples, or I will play the guitar and like find some harmonies that would just like feels good, and then just keep going. It's just like it's very what I like about making music is just like I don't know what's gonna happen. I just start, and it's kind of like you discover a movie. Like you watch
yeah,
it or you listen to the music for the first time. It just comes at you, and at the end of like a few days of creating, you're like, what is that? Like I never knew I had it in me to make it, and like it's just like it felt like it was bestowed upon me.
yeah.
And
I
and that's the
relate
fun
so
part.
much with this process. It's exactly the same thing as I do when I
Exactly.
produce music. It just usually starts with a melody or a sound or a rhythm or chord progression, and then it kind of snowballs and develops a life of its own. Almost, and it has its own desires. And sometimes I want to impose something from myself on the music, like, oh, I really want to go in this direction. And the song is like, no, buddy, this is not going to happen. So
Exactly.
it's like almost you're giving kind of birth to this being or this entity, and it has
Totally.
its own idea, and you kind of have to surrender your personal preferences to some degree of what it's going to sound like to get the best result.
Yeah.
Like
And that's
serving the song, not
that's
yourself.
music. That's just music has got this soul of its own. And it's like when you're DJing or even when you're jamming, you don't know where it's gonna go. Maybe somebody has like some groove or something, but usually like the whole the band, all the people coming together to play that it just comes by itself, you know. And when you're DJing, oftentimes I found myself like being completely surprised by the next song or like, you know, like what was calling me, you know. Sometimes the I'm like going through the song, the tracks, and and the song is like, call, like, play me, play me, play me. I'm like, okay, I guess. And I play it, it's like the best thing ever, you know, like, wow. You know. And I'm just kind of like a tool of the universe, you know, at the moment.
Conduit, a vessel,
Do it. A bamboo.
a bamboo for the air to come through.
Yeah, like a
Uh,
flute, little
yeah.
flute.
But okay, so I mean, being a conduit for the universe to serve a crowd is one thing, but how much do you like read the crowd yourself to make sure? Like, how does that come into it? I've never done this, you know. I have no idea what kind of cues you look for from a crowd when you're trying to read them in terms of what they need.
I mean, for the ecstatic dance, I prepare the sets, and I know what I'm gonna play. And if it goes a bit longer, then I can add to it. You know, there's like certain rhythms, and I can just like go down in energy or go up in energy. That I do, but like usually my set is prepared. You know,
Hmm.
because there's usually an act before my set, like somebody is coming to make a meditation or something, or there's like some playful activation, dancing and stuff like this. And at the end there's also singing, so it's a very short time. Like the dancing is like an hour and a half, maximum 2 hours, but usually 1 hour and a half. People are tired also, you know. They come, it's a lot. You sing, I don't know, you work the whole week and you come there to have a good time. So dancing more than an hour and a half, it's usually, you know, you can feel it. The people are just like they're tired, you know, and they just want to lay down, and then we can sing and just chill, and then we can talk and have fun, you know. But so for clubs and for bars or stuff like this, then you feel more into the groove and you feel more into what the people want, you know, and that's more like a journey where you don't really prepare and you have just a playlist of stuff like, oh, I would like to play this and everything. But for the ecstatic dance, I prepare for sure. And
It's
then
also different if people are. I mean, I've noticed for myself, it's a huge difference between crowds that are drinking cacao and crowds that are drinking alcohol.
yeah.
It's just like
And the
night
crowds
and
that are
day.
snorting Hewkii and the crowds that are snorting cocaine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the crowd that is snorting rapé is not really dancing, it's more like
Well, just for the Hewkii bit, but then you get back to dancing.
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say that that's one of my favorite parts. It's probably my favorite part of every ecstatic dance is the wind down at the end where everybody just realizes, oh, I'm actually a bit tired. I think I just want to lie down, and everybody just collectively decides, yeah, we're all gonna lie down now, and the music usually accompanies it so perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes, like, you know, like people are kind of pushing it, and like I can see, like, after an hour and a half, people are just like they're tired, but they're like, I'm gonna dance the best I can do, you know. But then, like, you can see that they don't have the same energy as the beginning, or like, you know. So I'm kind of forcing them to go down also a little bit, you know. And then they're like, oh yeah, I needed this, you know. And then depends what's happening after the dance. Sometimes it's like a gong or like Tibetan bowls. My friend Ilaria, she came and played Tibetan bowls, and everybody was in a circle, laying down, and it was just like receiving this. Um, with other people, it's more like singing and harmonizing, you know, and so just coming together and at the end and singing is, you know, because the dance is very kind of self. It's about the self, you know. So you dance for yourself, and then you can move with other people, but it's more about feeling your own body. And then at the end, it's really coming back together, and then the singing really makes it happen, you know. And after dancing for an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't know, something happens, and people are liberated, and the voices are just amazing and beautiful, you know, way more than at the beginning. They just yeah, liberate something inside of people.
And singing together is such a powerful agent to bring people together.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
sounds
People
insanely
get very
powerful.
high from singing, you know, like the first booklet of all the songs that I compiled that I learned from traveling. it was called songs to get high too, because like the more like if you sing them together, you get high. And if you sing a mantra for an hour, if you sing Hare Krishna for an hour, you can feel it. You're just high, just happy. And there's like this light and this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, singing, it's just in and of itself. And I think people sometimes get lost in the content of what you're singing. Like, I think you could essentially chant Darth Vader for an hour, and I think you would probably get equally high. Um, not to offend all the Hare
Probably.
Krishnas out there, but I just think it's like singing in and of itself is inherently liberating. And you hear this also from Terence McKenna when he's talking about like, tips when you have a bad trip, you have to sing. It oxygenates your brain. And that was how he got out of his bad trips. He just started singing, just row, row your boat gently downstream.
Yo, and
Yeah.
we have to talk about the voice liberation that happened on our ketamine trip, Helgi.
Oh yeah, let's go.
And you guys are Caymans. I see.
That was a wild time where I just held Helgi's face in my hands and screamed in his face, "I love you." It was like it was this crazy kind of feeling where it didn't feel like I was producing a note. It didn't feel like I was consciously like using force to push out a note out of my mouth. It was more like it was just happening through me. There was like this crazy waterfall of energy just going through me, and I just had to like I couldn't keep my mouth from opening up and just being like ah, you know.
This
And
was different from any other ketamine experience I've had because it was so vocal. We were just kind of automatically, and we were not in our egos at the time. We were just laying side by side, and there was just sound coming through, and our voices were kind of doing things and then stabilizing, finding a resonance point, doing something interesting and changing and morphing. So that was very interesting because it was not coming from a conscious place of, I'm gonna make a sound.
Yeah,
It was
no, it's
just
more like I remember coming back to my senses and just realizing with a flash that I was screaming. You know?
yeah.
It's like waking up into ah it's just like oh shit, I've been screaming this whole time. Um
Yeah.
Like a chill afternoon, screaming at each other. Let's go.
Yeah.
I just I remember hitting a frequency like it was a glitch in the Matrix, you know. I think there's a scene in one of the Matrix movies where or probably I it may happen in a few scenes in across the Matrix series where like they make this kind of glitchy sound where a human voice turns into a perfect sine wave and just becomes this one perfect note that sounds very synthesized and not human, so it sounds quite creepy. Um, and my voice felt like that, like I was hitting just this pure one perfect pitch frequency, like I was just perfectly aligned to create just one sine wave with no overtones or anything. That's what it felt like. I can't tell you what the measurements would have said. Oh yeah.
Like, let's listen to the recording of it and see if it's
Yeah.
actually.
I thought to myself, I wish I'd recorded that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, some people recommend that kind of stuff when you're doing journeys because then, like, you can get an outside perspective of, like, oh, this is when I went through this, and then you can kind of almost digest or integrate better what you experienced because get to relive it a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, anyway, that was our ketamine detour.
Voice activation. Yeah, I was happy to hear after that trip, Helgi, that you felt like I remember you saying that you felt like you'd never opened up your voice like this on a ketamine trip before.
No, not like that. And the liberation that came from it was just like uh, so orders of magnitude more than I've had before through that particular
And do
medicine.
you usually sing on ketamine, Helgi?
No, I never make any sounds when I do it. I mean, I'm
Okay, so
I'm
maybe the
really
singing is the
that's like getting back to that. Yeah, it's all about the voice kind of letting out that energy. And sometimes it's not even just singing. It's like it can be. This happened to me also a few months ago. Um, just like different sounds that need to come through expressions of pleasure, and it can be all sorts of different things. And I think. we censor ourselves a lot. This also, t connects to the ecstatic dance thing, which is, as I understand it, it's like inviting people to express themselves in their body in ways that are kind of out of your comfort zone to really kind of break down the barriers. And I think it's just our expression in general is so censored because we have to fit into particular social norms of like
Totally.
what's appropriate and what's not too weird and all this. So I think it's like it's tremendously helpful, whatever it is. It could be ketamine for you, it could be ecstatic dance, it could be going and playing metal music. Like whenever you have a space for you to just kind of break all those molds of how you're supposed to be and fit into the structures of society and just being able to express yourself exactly as you
Hmm.
want. So I think
I
that
always felt like it was this the purpose of living also is to just liberate oneself from all the shackles of all the everything that we think we need, and like societal things or like stuff, and like when I was traveling, I was like liberating. Now that I'm no more sedentary, it's more like amassing things and then, learn to like let go of the things that I amass also. And like it's like this balance of like owning and letting go of stuff. But it's really liberation is the most important part. I mean, thinking that we're like bound to 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 our fears and to our yeah to like what the society wants from us is it's very hard for people. Like I can see it when I'm DJing downtown or something. People need alcohol to loosen up, you know. And around them, I need alcohol to loosen up also, because I'm like they like and I need to vibe on their level somehow,
Mm.
and and then cacao helps also doing this, but just like expressing oneself, I think that's the most liberating thing, like just singing, making music, even painting or drawing without judging oneself or having fears of somebody else judging you is is amazing and it's the most needed thing, I think. That's why
I
I'm
think it's
doing all
also
this stuff.
also about the container itself, like that you're creating a container where it's kind of explicitly stated and encouraged for people to kind of push the boundaries of expression in that way.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So
mean, you can see people are very like, "Ah, I cannot, I'm too shy and everything." I was like, yeah, that's the moment, that's now, go for it.
yeah,
And of course, it's not the moment for me to make a joke like,
yeah, right.
No, you gotta pick your time for these kind of jokes, but like, it depends with who. But yeah, it's good for like when I was doing the song circles at the beginning when I arrived in Reykjavik. It was like everybody pays, but if you sing a song or if you like make people sing with you, then you don't have to pay. So it was an incentive also for people to bring their own creation, instead of just like absorbing other people's stuff. And that I think it helped a few people, like some people learned ukulele at the same time and started writing songs, and then they were just like, yeah, opening up to just public singing, which is can be quite scary sometimes.
That's the way to go. Just bribe them with money.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like blackmail them. Like if you don't
Yeah,
want the pictures to leak, you better come here and sing, you know?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It all boils down to money, you know?
I mean, it's just a good incentive,
No,
it's
I'm kidding. Okay,
one
yes,
of
it's,
them,
it's a great idea. Yeah, it
Yeah,
works.
it worked for
Yeah.
some people. Some people were like, "Oh, I pay, money is better than me." Like, hurting, you know. And also, some people they don't want to sing, they don't need to sing, they don't have this desire to express themselves so much, so they don't need to.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, man. I actually I want to steer us a little bit into you mentioned the travels. I'm curious to hear more about that, and I think there could be some interesting stories there because I know that you did a lot of rainbow festival stuff, uh,
Rainbow,
and I've
yeah,
never really
gay
heard
pride.
like the depths of all those stories. So kind of want to dive a little bit into it, if you don't mind.
But do
Let's
you
see.
know what a rainbow is?
I mean, th what I know is that it's kind of like these. It's a big thing, so I think it differs from where you are in the world. But generally, it's kind of those hippie get-togethers where they set up their own little society in a forest setting usually, and free food and music and
Free, yeah, donation, let's say. There's some money involved, but it's like it's on donation. So if you don't have the money, you don't have to pay. But it's not just hippies, it's also nomads and like travelers and just people that are a bit more open to just community living in nature, you know? Like
Mhm.
mainly all we need is a land, some water, and some firewood. And then the rest can just like happen organically and just like people can do whatever they want. But usually the ones I've been to, they were vegan. So everybody's welcome, if there's like meat cooking all the time, then vegans don't come. But if it's all vegan, then meat eaters can also come and they don't have to eat meat. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like open to everyone. And it's a lot of workshops. It's a lot of like just uh, sitting around the fire and singing songs, and it goes for a month. You can go as long as you want. You can go one day, you can go 1 month, sometimes even longer than 1 month. The pre rainbow and the post rainbow, like to put it up and to put it down. And I think it's the most like the closest I've lived to heaven, to paradise. It's just brothers and sisters living free, and doing whatever they want. Of course, there's some rules. There's no electricity, so there's not going to be like speakers. There's not going to be like DJs. There's going to like so all the music will come from the humans. So like there's instruments and everything, but it's never going to be like I push a button and the music is happening. It's like I have to do the music. And so all the music I learned and all the songs that I learned them there, and I brought it all to my song circles in cities and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I done a lot of rainbows. I think I did 13 in 2 years, and you just go from one to the other. You just
Where do you find these and where do you sign up for these? How do you make this happen?
well, there's a forum online, but most of them are not there. It's kind of like once you're in the system, well, the system, the loop of things, then you know where the next one's gonna be, and then you kind of follow people around, and then it's just like, oh, it's gonna be in Switzerland, and then like you ask for like, there's usually an invitation, so like somebody is like drawing and writing all the rules and regulate not regulation, like let's say principles, it's kind of like a Burning Man or something. There's principles, it's not really rules, but it's very good to go and live through these principles and not to go against it, but otherwise you can destroy the purpose of it. But that's more like a honor thing. It's like you have to do it. Nobody's gonna come and impose the stuff on you. Uh, so there's invitations. So to know where the next one would be, you need to receive the invitation. So there's like a few, like usually a PDF online, and you receive by email or something, and you know where the next one will be. And if you have been to a rainbow already, usually you get the invitation.
So wait, I was under the impression that rainbow gatherings were these camper van things where you got camper vans in a circle.
No. So camper, there's usually a camping a bit far away. It can be like 6 hours walking from the main fire. Can be like 20 minutes. A lot of people are staying in the camping and they just live in their van and everything, and they come sometimes to the rainbow. I always found that putting my tent the closest to the sacred fire, to the main fire, is the funnest because you're part of it and you create, and when something happens, you know about it. And if you have to live in your van and in the parking lot, like you can do that a bit anywhere. It's kind of like it's like the parking is usually a tiny separate rainbow next to the actual rainbow. And so it's usually like tents, and sometimes people make the cabin. Sometimes people they don't have a tent and they just sleep in a anywhere. Depends on your level of of just funds and money, like what you have, you know? Like some people have nothing and they go there and they kind of like hobos, and some people have like huge tents with like heaters and everything, and you're like, oh,
Living high.
yeah,
There's
uh,
the top dogs. I was gonna say, I almost said top gods.
yeah, and usually the people that have stuff, they also provide for other people, you know, like some people, there was one guy called Seahorse, and he put his tent far away from the main fire, you know, it's like you had to walk for 15 minutes, 20 minutes up the river, and he had his tent, and every night he would do chapati, chilam, chai. So he would invite everybody around the fire, and he would have like chillums, like pipes of weed, like going around, a big pot of chai and a bunch of chapatis with like peanut butter and jam. And that was his thing, you know. And I was there every day because it was amazing. You know, there was music, there was fun, there was good people, you know. And he provided all this, you know, like it was all for free. So when you have nothing, you kind of get provided on, you know.
Oh, so
But the goal is also to like see this and then kind of wanting to create a life of your own to be able to provide for the future generation, let's say.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
bringing it into society at large, not just like a separate container where this can exist, kind of spread it
Yeah.
around.
It's nice
Yeah.
also to go back to the container of the rainbow because it's such a little like tiny society, and there's a lot of stuff that I hate about it. You know, like every time I go back to a rainbow, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this. No, I don't like this. Yeah, this thing. But then like you get into the groove, and then you re remember like what makes it so great, and it usually is this sense of freedom and this sense of just joy and people making good, healthy stuff happening, you know? And
Yeah,
some rainbows are really healthy. They're like even so healthy, like it's like everything is forbidden. Like no sugar, no coffee, no alcohol, no meat. That's no alcohol, no meat, that's a given, but like no sugar, no coffee, like that's usually rainbows have like stuff, you know, and there's like but a healing rainbow doesn't have all this. And honestly, those are the best ones
mm.
because
Yeah.
you really feel super healthy at the end. You know,
You
really
just get on the weed.
And getting away from
like
the
at the healing rainbows, you don't have weed either, you know, like
Okay.
it's not part of it.
I
But
see.
and
yeah, I
also
think also
drugs are like very like you know it's a very gray area, but usually like around the main fire and around the kitchen and around all the communal spaces, there's no substance. You know, like we say like please, and because it's annoying, you know, like there's like a kitchen, people are like just sober and nice and happy and everything, and then there's a guy like on mushrooms who's like, you know, it just doesn't. This like the whole vibe can feel it because everybody's pretty much sober. So as soon as there's somebody not sober coming, it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, well, thank you very
and
much.
there's kind of a dissonance sometimes when people are in different places, so
Oh,
it can be
totally.
harder to build
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. And then you can see like sometimes new full moon parties. You know, usually the sacred fire is surrounded by like families and friends and everything, and everybody's sober. And then sometimes you have a full moon party, and you can see a few people on acid or on mushrooms, and they are completely different than usually, and we know them because we've been like in the camp with them for like a week, you know, or 2 weeks, and so suddenly they come with a newfound confidence in themselves, and you're like, well, that's not really you. You're like that's the drug, you know, that's the substance, and then the next day they're back to themselves. So well, like what's the point of this, you know? Like it was not really, just be real, be yourself instead of like needing this stuff to appear, to show off, kind of, you know. Be yourself.
Mm.
That's also a core thing of the rainbow, is to learn to liberate oneself from all these things to be able to shine your real self, you
But
know?
don't you think psychedelics can be tremendously helpful in that quest as well, to be
Yeah, of course,
oneself?
but like sometimes it's detrimental, and sometimes it's I could see it, you know, there was like some sort of comfort, like sometimes like I remember taking acid, and then there's this like Christ consciousness over me that like, I'm super confident in myself and in my future and everything. And so much that I don't care about the things that I used to care about before, like people or places or things. And I'm like, I'm just gonna do me, and I don't care about no one, and I don't care about nothing. And then the next day you realize, maybe I should care about these people. Maybe I should like, you know,
Or maybe
try
there was some truth in it.
that there is some truth in it, but it's also like to find it through more real uh, self-exploration, I think is also very important. Psychedelics have tremendous insight to bring, but so is being sober.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's like we, as with every issue, we have extremists on both sides. You know, have the people that say, "Oh, this is drugs and all drugs are bad," and then you have people like, "Oh, psychedelics are just universally good across the board and they're going to save humanity." And I don't think these things are good or bad. I think in the right context they can be helpful, and in different contexts they can be detrimental, and it depends on the
Hmm.
person and the dose and the environment and everything. So it's like it's a tremendously nuanced issue. Um, so yeah, I think there's definitely I know a lot of people that could benefit from taking a trip because they've never done it, and I know a lot of people that would benefit from just going a whole year without
So
doing anything.
yeah, exactly.
And that's tremendously hard for. I just saw this video. My friend who struggles with addiction, he sent me this video of somebody was asking someone what's the hardest drug you've ever done, and she said sobriety.
I mean, it can be hard, like you really have to accept yourself, really,
Yeah.
because it's easy to pop a pill or and like, oh, I'm so happy, and like, I'm in heaven, and like, I'm going to the 16th dimension, and but like, what about
I don't have
this?
that perception of LSD though, that you just pop it and you're good, you know. It's
No,
No, not
like,
for me, not for
no.
me.
LSD is a whole trip, and you go through yourself fully, like without any like
it
shame.
brings up a lot of difficult stuff as
Oh yeah,
well,
yeah.
is
Course,
what
of
I'm
course,
saying, you know.
of
So
course.
it is in fact a very, because you said there was a truer way to face oneself before, and I think psychedelics are an extremely true way of facing oneself, and in many ways a truer way than
I
the
think I think that the issue is when we get into the path of like there's a truer and non-truer path. I think like it's all valid. Just people get kind of attached to whatever method works for them, and people tend to want to claim that as the truest, most important thing usually.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not trying to say any which one of these is truer than the other.
I just feel like I've seen like if you take mushrooms or LSD like once in a while, then you learn a lot about yourself and you can work through this and then you can integrate over the next few days and weeks, But like I've seen a lot of people popping mushrooms every day, nonstop, or
yeah.
like, even acid. It might be very hard at the beginning or something, but then as soon as you get the hang of it and you just don't you just like you like the trippy effects and you like the euphoric effect instead of like the working on oneself effect, then
Hmm.
like people just popping it all the time, and it's just about partying and just being and then you don't really you lose your attachment to the ground. You don't have your feet on the ground anymore. which is
100%.
which is like, I mean, it's good maybe for a little bit, but you cannot do this forever because you
Yeah.
live on this planet and you need to be in society with people and you have to care about people. So you cannot just do your thing only. You have to, like.
Yeah, no,
Gotta
I'm
find the balance.
not
Yeah.
talking about that either.
No, well, we're just like, developing on it.
Yeah.
I think it's balance. It's
Yeah.
just like finding your own balance would be like psychedelics have great power, but also not doing it too much. You
Yeah,
know,
with great power becomes
exactly.
Comes
great responsibility. Where's this from? Like, I
from
hear this quote.
It's
It is
Spider-Man's
Spider-Man. I
uncle.
thought it was Spider-Man. But it sounds like it's like older than Spider-Man. It sounds like, a historic quote from somebody. But
I mean, it's
anyway,
also like who said that? I think it's like McKenna. No, he said like once you get the message, you hang up
hang
the
up.
phone.
And then somebody said, "What a dick." It's just like, oh, bye. No, but the thing is also that is also like there's nuance to that because sometimes you think you got the message, but maybe you didn't get the message, and maybe there's a lot more to the conversation. So maybe not hang up the phone forever. I think like you get a message, okay, you can integrate it, but like I think usually there's a lot more to a conversation than just one message, and
Yeah,
one
of course.
message can be infinitely deep. Um,
Hmm.
But what I wanted to touch on a little bit with with the rainbow festivals or gatherings, it's not a festival per se, or
No, like we usually don't like the word festival because it's not a festival. Festival
yeah,
usually you go there and you get like fed with stuff, you know.
yeah.
A gathering is like everybody brings something. So Burning Man is a little bit more like this, like everybody brings something, or hopefully. So
Hmm.
everybody brings a gift, everybody brings something to offer, and that's the point also, you know, it's like everybody has something that they can offer, and some people is just cooking, some people is music, you know, some people is I don't know, building stuff, you know, so it's more like a gathering than a festival, definitely.
Hmm. What I wanted to say about this is that it kind of probably the reason why it feels so good is because this is probably the closest you can get to how humans used to live,
Tribe.
like pre-civilization.
Hmm.
And I think it's actually quite easy for humans to get along on this scale and to survive, which is why we did it for so long. I think the problem is when you have millions of people together in a place, and then statistically you have some, psychopaths and murderers and rapists, and you gotta like find some social structures to, navigate all that stuff. And it's like when you have a group of 100, I don't know, how many people are usually in a gathering?
Depends, like small ones, like the smallest one we had was like 10 people,
Yeah,
12 people. Like that
right.
was like nobody really knew about it, and it was in the middle of Estonia, and it's like a really tiny place, you know. But like for there's European ones and there's like world ones, and in the
Mm.
world ones they can be like more than 10,000, you know. In the States they can be like 40,000 people, and there's like
Oh, wow.
kitchens and like a lot of people. The most I've been to was like 3,000, 4,000 people over the month, not at once, you know. So over the whole month, there would be in total 3,000 people, which is a lot. And you don't meet everybody at all, you know,
Hmm.
a lot of people.
Right.
But the best, I think, are the smaller ones. 12 is a bit small, definitely, but still you have a cozy little family you create, you know, a little tribe. I think 150 is my favorite because
Hmm.
you know a bit of everyone and everybody does their thing, but you always kind of meet up again and there's like deeper connections growing. My favorite one was the first one I've ever done, and it was 150 people in New Zealand, and it was pristine.
Wait, how long was that?
How long was that? What do you mean? The rainbow itself?
Yeah.
Rainbow is always from new moon to new moon.
Okay. Mhm.
Depends. Like some countries, like in Austria, it was only 2 weeks because the law of the country doesn't allow gatherings for more than 2 weeks. That's
Huh.
very yeah. That's like super fascist law, you know. It's like, and also like you cannot have more than like 50 people on your property or something like that. That's like
That's hilarious.
full of population a lot, and we were like us hippies completely free. We were like, oh, who gives a shit? But but the cops came, you know, a few times, and usually the
Really?
cops they try to find something bad about it, but then they never find anything because it's just a bunch of people like singing happy songs in the forest, and they're like, you don't really break any laws except for in Austria, like more than 2 weeks. That's it,
Hmm.
you know.
Dirty hippies, you gotta
Dirty
crack down
hippies,
on them.
yeah. And like every time the village, because it's always close to a village or something, and every time the newspaper is talking about the rainbow, it's like, oh, these hippies in the forest. Sometimes it's a very positive article and like, oh, beautiful people and that. And sometimes it's like just so negative and finding stuff that are not even true, like rituals, weird rituals, magic, and like killing people, and we're like, what? We're just singing songs and eating food here, like, like we're just going into the lake and bathing, you know. There's
I
like,
did, I didn't
And
think
this is
it.
the perception that a lot of fundamentalist religious people have of people who are into non-religious types of spirituality, that it's all kind of witchcraft and rituals and
yeah. And I
eating
mean,
babies and
rainbow is
whatever.
not even, it is spiritual, but it's not the core of the rainbow is not spiritual. It's just coming together as humans. You know, the first rainbow I think was in the 60s in the States. And it was just like people coming together to learn about things, like little workshops and like just little commune, you know, like a very short commune, you know, like for 1 month. And I don't think it was even 1 month the first one, but it was very simple. It was, I mean, since it was hippies in the 60s, it was probably quite spiritual, but that was not the main core of it. I think it's just the main idea behind the rainbow is to just get out of the system of the normal society and just like live a bit closer to nature and to learn to be a bit more together, togetherness, gathering. That's what we want,
I think, yeah, but I think just coming together as humans, as you say, is probably just actually the essence of what spirituality is, at least for me. It's not about crystals and chakras and that's all cool, fine and dandy if you want to do that, but the simpler thing of just coming together, like that is the core
That's a
of it.
great point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's really why we love it, and that's why we do it,
Yeah.
because it's the place where we can trust people to be the most real with us about what they're really feeling, where people are the most upfront about their emotions, where people can hold the best space for such sharing of emotions
Yeah.
is
That's also coming back to like being sober also because like when you're sober you can really get in touch with your real self, like psychedelics can help you find yourself, but to put it into action with other people and with like children and older people, like the people that don't want to get close to psychedelics at all and don't need to, like especially children, they shouldn't be, I think. Then we are a bit just more real humans, like with our flaws and with our things and like trying to work on ourselves without like some divine intervention, like Christ consciousness like forced into your mouth, like it's like I understand everything, but then the next day you don't remember nothing, it's kind of same
yeah.
thing.
It's more like it can just be a little nudge in the right direction. I feel these
Exactly.
psychedelic journeys, they kind of give you they show it to you, but only for a second, and then you're back, and it's like, how do I integrate this? Like,
And
what
they
do I?
also they take you kind of beyond the human, which is actually the magic about them is that you are a human, but you're also so much more than a human, and you're so much more than this individuated,
Hmm.
apparently individuated self. And it can be amazing to dissolve that and merge into being everything, essentially, being more than a human. But then also the reason why you're human is because you want to have some kind of a human experience.
Exactly.
More
Um,
than a human.
is this the thing? It doesn't ring a bell.
More than a human to me. Oh, it's more than a woman by the Bee Gees.
But I like the more than a
Uh,
human. It's pretty good.
yeah, yeah, you are a human, but
That's
so much more as
that's
well.
what that's what the that's what the ketamine said to us, Helgi.
Right,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah, I was looking up since we spoke about this. I was looking up kind of the sizes of Aboriginal tribes pre-colonization, and they said like a band or family group is typically around 25 individuals, highly mobile, and then a clan sub-tribe is around 450 to 500 people.
Wow.
And then you have like a tribal language group above that, which is a regional group, which is up to 1,500 or 2,000. So it seems that there's kind of a similar scale happening, which is why this is probably kind of wired into our DNA or like feels very natural to us to live in these kind of settings more so than living in a city of hundreds of thousands or millions of people with high pace cars and information and advertisements and craziness going on. I think it's like just something in our DNA, in our being that's just like wants to just sit around a fire in a forest with people and play some music with no electricity.
Part of us is just wants to get some goddamn chill. How
Yeah,
about that?
yeah,
I think just belonging is the core desire of everyone, like to be accepted and to be loved and to belong, to not be rejected by thing. And then when you come into like a tribe and you learn to act within a tribe and a family, then you just like you belong, and then that's the roots of humanity, like just being part of something. And like when you look at society nowadays, except for the family, the father, mother, and things, you don't really have this belonging so much. You have to go out and find it, and it can be hard for some people. I know it was
Yeah.
hard for me for like when I was a kid, definitely. It was very hard for me to find where I was belonging, and
Yeah.
so that's why also it's so easy to for like fascist system or even like capitalistic system to use this belonging and family and like coming together as a tool to get money, to get
Yeah.
people together and like pretending that we're all like in this together, but actually we're like it's just a way to profit from each other, and so
Yeah.
like, you really have to feel like is it real or is somebody bullshitting me, like you really have to find your own family yourself, and
Yeah, they tap into the our instincts, our desire for belonging for their own
yeah,
gain. And
totally, man.
and this is the messaging you receive growing up in modern societies, like really that you don't belong and you go work for some company and as you know, as soon as you're not profitable or useful to them anymore, they discard you without even a single thought.
Hmm.
So like this is you don't really feel like you belong. You feel like you're a useful cog so long as you offer something. And when you don't, it's just like, who gives a fuck about you, essentially?
Yeah, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it happened to like even like spiritual groups also, like they just get into like I wouldn't say greed, but this capitalistic need, and then they get the fear of like losing what they created kind of take over, and so they just like they forgot about the heart and the family, and they just like
Yeah.
focus on the business part, and then they're like, oh no, like everything falls apart because like the vision was about like love and family, and then it just becomes this
Yeah.
thing, it's just
But
this
it's
stuff,
the
you know?
practicalities of survival though is like it's something that sometimes gets overlooked by some of these communities because it's like sometimes people are just getting along and it's easy to get along for a month. But like if you want to have some sort of a social system that provides for everybody in a way that everybody survives. Like sometimes there's kind of f- some practicalities that people that just want to vibe all the time can overlook. And I think survival is a real thing. And I think, the reason why we have all these kind of predatory systems in our modern society is because it's just running on pure survival. It's just like,
Mhm.
the company's just trying to look out for itself and you're just a useful cog for that operation. Society at large is just like a survival machine.
Hey,
Hey,
before we go
Right.
any further, I have to comment on the pilot headset. It's pretty hilarious.
yeah, it's because I don't have my recording equipment. I'm dog sitting for the weekend, and I thought I packed my recording equipment, but I didn't. So I just dug around in my brother's stuff and found this. This is probably better than the laptop microphone, I
Should
think.
have started the episode like, "Oh, welcome to the Friends, dear passengers, we're back."
Right, right. Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
anyway, yeah,
we left off. We were talking about survival and how, like, sometimes, people can neglect the fact that you gotta have some sort of a structure for things to work.
Mhm.
Um, but then we also had a really great conversation while Timmy was off doing his thing, and maybe we want to dive a little bit more into that because we were talking about, like, you know, how the counterbalance of, for example, when we were talking about ketamine and how addictive it can be, and like I know so many people that have really had a hard time with it, and kind of highlighting both ends of the spectrum, and that it can give kind of a wrong impression to speak only about um,
Benefits.
the benefits, potential benefits of ketamine, of which there are many. I've benefited a lot from it, but I've also definitely got to see the the fiendish, darker side of it, and it can be potentially very addictive. So we were kind of diving a little bit into that.
yeah, dive in, dive in.
I
Um,
mean, I think it comes from like it comes to balance, like again, you were talking about stru like lack of structure and being too like too woo woo and everything, and then like you losing yourself and you don't really have a stable ground to stand on. But if you have a little bit of the woo-woo and a little bit of the groundedness, then you have a balanced life, and it's pretty good. Same with like with everything, like food. Too much food and you get super fat, like not enough and you die. Like too much
Right.
water, you drown. Too much
That's
oxygen, you
that,
burn.
that's crazy because I was just watching a documentary about in Britain when the rave culture was starting in the 90s. There was like a huge surge of people using MDMA at raves. And the alcohol companies, they got super scared of this whole thing because people that are using MDMA, they don't want to drink. You don't want to drink alcohol when you're on MDMA. So this was like hurting their profits. So they
Mhm.
went to war uh,
Against them.
with MDMA, and there was this one girl who tragically died after taking one tablet of MDMA, and there was this huge campaign started to kind of villainize MDMA and using her kind of as the face of that. And it turns out that she died not from the MDMA, but because she drank like I don't know how many liters of water in 90 minutes because she heard somewhere that when you're using MDMA, you have to drink a lot of water. And usually it's because people are dancing. And she was not in that kind of environment. She died from the water intake. She died from water poisoning because and
Yeah. And
just
then
to
it
show
became a
that
whole
it's like,
thing, like don't drink too much, like drink water, but don't drink too much because people
but
there's
that's the thing
another
is like everything can be lethal and problematic if you do too much of it, even just basic necessities such as water. Um, it's a great documentary. I don't remember what it's called, but you can probably find it like Alcohol Companies War with MDMA in England or something like this. It's very illuminating.
So there is a KD50 for water, apparently.
Is it Katie LD50?
what is that?
Oh, right, right, right. Lethal, not killing.
Yeah. What?
LD50. That's like the dose, I believe it's the dose at which 50% of the subjects died.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously there is, and but it says on Google, water is considered one of the least toxic chemical compounds with an LD50 exceeding 90,000 milligram per kilogram. Uh, 90 grams per kilogram
Okay,
body
we're
weight in
we're gonna need
rat.
to we're gonna need to get that in liters.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
1 liter of water is 1 kilo of water.
Huh?
1 liter of water is 1 kilo of water.
Yeah.
So yeah, drinking 6 liters in 3 hours has caused death uh, of a human.
Yeah, that's a lot. You shouldn't do
And
it.
I think this person drank something similar in 90 minutes or something, 6 or 7 liters.
And that's the thing also, like drugs and like psychedelics, they just like um they deform reality. So you don't even know you've been drinking so much water and then you just like drown.
Yeah, exactly. That's also part of it, is that
I mean, I've
uh,
seen like with ketamine, especially, like I've seen a lot of people just like taking a lot because it helps them just kind of like float over the problems. Um, if there's some drama going on, you take a bit of ketamine and then you're like, oh, everything is love and light and it's beautiful and I can just be with my friends, even though like we just fought like 5 minutes ago. But then like all these issues and all these things, they never get addressed. And then they just linger there. And when everybody's sober, it's just like everybody's just back at it without fixing it. And then instead of actually talking about it, they take a bit more. And then it's just like it never fixes itself. It never
that's the problem of escapism.
escapism. Yeah, exactly.
Um,
That's the problem with psychedelics usually is like a lot of people are using it to escape,
yeah,
not to grow.
yeah.
Hmm.
I
And
mean, psychedelics in general, it's a bit hard to do this because after a while, you don't really want to take more mushrooms or more LSD because it doesn't really do anything. But like with coke and with opiates or with like numbing things, then it's very
ketamine is one of those.
alcohol. Alcohol is super toxic and super bad. A little bit, it's fun, but like if you drink too much, then you start needing it. Your body just craves it. You like, just it's just
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
that's the part that's different about ketamine also from other psychedelics is the kind of physical dependency part is a very real thing, and a lot of people
I mean
get
different.
get addicted to it. I did want to say one thing, but you wanted to say something to me?
no, go for it.
No, I wanted to touch on a little bit more on this because you were talking about this girl that died and how like being in an altered state can affect your judgment essentially that you don't really know what you're doing and you can end up doing something like that. What I wanted to add to that is also the fact that
Wait, you brought up the girl, Hewkii.
no, but yeah, Matthias, he was just talking
No,
about
you're like
no, no,
gaslighting Matthias right now into saying,
no. He was bringing up the part of like the lack of judgment and that you can
gotcha,
do stupid things when you're in an altered state.
gotcha.
What I wanted to add to that is that it's also the fact that just because all these things are criminalized, we don't, and pushed into the shadows, we don't receive proper information and proper education. And in this case, this person received just some idea that, oh, you have to drink a lot of water when you're using MDMA, and it was just missing the context of like how much it is, how much you're supposed to drink, and this is also usually like applied to people who are dancing a lot in a hot environment and sweating a lot and stuff like this. And I think that that's also where a lot of people run into trouble and harm themselves is just because the fact that these things are pushed into the shadows, that is a reason why we don't have a lot of good education and information. We just get like this kind of demonized kind of just say no campaigns or
Yeah.
propaganda.
Or
Uh,
literally war,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like just
war
like
on drugs.
yeah,
imprisoning people for like for trying to uncover the truth, the whole Earth is flat, Earth is round. Like the first guy who said the Earth is not the center of the world is just got into jail, and like stuff like this. And like it's the same with with drugs, like if we talk about it and if we're not afraid of it and we're actually seeing it as something that exists, something that is part of life, then we can study it, Just like medicine, for a long time, like looking inside the body of a human was like horrible, and like you go to jail and you die, and like, well, we kind of need to learn about it to fix people. So
yeah, it exists and people are gonna do it. So like, let's
exactly.
be informed about it. Let's not demonize the discussion. Let's talk about the potential positives and negatives,
Mhm.
and let's not be ideological about what's, these things being good or bad. It's
It
all about the
is.
context. It is. It's
It
all
just
good.
it just are. It's like the merry pranksters, the guys that uh,
Yeah.
they just brought LSD to the public in the 60s, in the States. And Ken Casey, the main guy of the group, he was asked in an interview, is it because it's such a rock and roll thing? It's like a part of the new culture. Is it like you want to be like rebellious? So that's why you take LSD and everything? And he was like, no, it's just because it is, it has nothing to do with rock and roll or anything. It's just like it's a thing that exists. And so like to just completely reject it's kind of like silly because it's part of it's there, and so if you just don't look at it and learn from it, then you just like stay scared of it forever. And
And that's when it gets pushed, as I say, into the shadows. Just like when you put stuff under your carpet and then eventually have rats living in the house.
exactly.
Um, and it's the same.
That's what, like this escapism comes in the same way.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you're just pushing stuff away until it kind of festers and turns into something monstrous. Like that's how you get fucking mafias and cartels selling drugs and stuff like this because it's demonized and criminalized, and that's
Mhm.
how the black market takes over.
Exactly.
Um, I was gonna say something, I forgot lost my train of
Uh,
thought. So
I was gonna say, Matthias, what setting do you have on your camera right now that keeps zooming in on you
it's
like
so
that? It's so funny.
it's so dramatic. I love it.
Gangster setting. Like,
I
oh, it's
wanted
like
to.
a auto frame video. This
Oh,
is the
really?
frame.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, can I get some of that action? Auto
Oh.
frame my video. Oh my God. All right, I'm excited. It just makes your points seem so much more profound when somebody when you get zoomed
Wow.
in.
For those who are listening, they're not gonna have any idea what's going on.
So
But
we're playing around with the Zoom camera settings here for everybody who's listening. And the Zoom camera AI apparently is able to zoom in on you and cut out the frame of your webcam image however it sees fit.
it just
Apparently
looks
now, if
so
you can.
dramatic when you're making your point, and it just like zooms in your face.
It's so funny. And then
It's
when it
so
That's
good.
zooms
amazing.
but goes to the side, a little bit.
Yeah.
You had a bit of that action when you were leaning off to the side there, Matthias.
Hmm.
That was beautiful. I'm waiting for it to zoom out of my face now, but I guess it's just
If you
gonna be
stay
like that.
immobile, it will not work.
I guess if I move over here, is it gonna change?
Probably.
Yeah, there we go. Got the
There we
full
go.
frame now.
Uh,
So now it's just time to make another great point that
oh, I'm almost remembering when we were talking about the. Oh yes, it came back to me. Yes, you were talking about kind of the '60s and the people kind of putting LSD into the public, and uh, and I was just reminded of like when I was a teenager and I was in this spot of like smoking weed for the first time and trying psychedelics. I just sincerely believed this is what humanity needs. Like if the world leaders were smoking a joint, we would not have war. If they did mushrooms, like things would.
I honestly think there's still some truth to this.
And this is what I was gonna say. I think there's a lot of truth in that, and one can be forgiven for thinking that like when you try this out for the
We
first time
need
and
to
you're
put
just
LSD in the water supply.
that's, yeah, and yeah. This is where it actually like goes overboard with some people because there are people that really believe that this is like the way to go. Putting it in the water supply, and there were plans to do this in the 60s, and I think that's kind of going too far in the direction of like overlooking the potential negatives and just seeing it blindly kind of it's almost like a religious attitude of like this is just
I'm just curious about it because I'm just curious about it. What would
oh you just did like as an experiment.
how would it feel? Just
I mean,
being on a trip with an entire city. Just
wasn't it
imagine
what
that.
happened? Wasn't it what happened with the in the medieval time? There was like
Right.
LSD growing on rye, and then people would make bread from it, and they would just
It's
like
the ergot.
made yeah, ergot, and then it was just like seeing like dragons and stuff, and then make up like fables and like medieval myths and stuff like this because they were just tripping on stuff. So I think like putting LSD on the water, if people don't know they're being like drug, let's say, then they're just gonna freak out. Like like I only had good experience with psychedelics because I knew I was taking them.
Yeah.
If somebody pushed me like into it without telling me, I would
All of
just
a sudden you
oh,
just
what's
start
happening?
tripping.
Like the
You have
world
no
is
reason. It's just like,
Yeah.
my arm's 20 meters long. What's going on?
I don't
And
think
you
that
like yeah, especially in the medieval times, you have no concept of like what a psychedelic is, and so you're just like, yeah, this is just reality now. This is happening. Some people think like a lot of the witch trials happened because of some of this. I don't know if that's true at all, but those
That
theories are
sounds like some very, very speculative new age speculation.
yeah. But this did happen that there was an ergot, which is I think that is the fungi that LSD is synthesized from.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a
It
pretty fun guy.
yeah, he is a pretty fun guy, but be
Hey,
careful. Um,
but what is this? Sorry, what was the word you said? Argot?
ergot.
Ergot.
Also a
Okay.
fun guy.
Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
fun guy. And
But what is this? It's a fungi. It's a
It's
yeah,
fungus.
mold growing on rye.
Fungi is plural, guys. Is it?
It's fungus.
Thank you.
So
fung
fungus,
the fungus among us.
a fungus.
So yeah,
Okay.
that was growing on rye and wheat. Was it just wheat? I don't know. They got into the bread in the
It was
medieval
just
times.
rye, but I don't know.
And it was just like this one-time thing. Just everybody, everybody tripped the fuck out on
Yeah,
this one occasion.
it probably happened a bunch of times. It's just like I think it's just moldy grains.
And they didn't
Some
know.
of them are just tripping on people.
They just eat magic bread,
Yeah, kind
Yep.
of,
and you're
pretty much.
off to the races. All right.
And the thing is, like, when this got into the supply, pretty much everybody was eating it.
Hmm.
So it's like you
Maybe it's
had.
just for season or for a few days or a week or something.
It's something I'd have to look into more because yeah, I know this happened at some stage. I don't know where, but and then I had this kind of connected. Heard somebody connecting it to the witch trials that people were tripping balls and like, oh my God, the witches are casting spells. We gotta,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, or like these people dancing for like days in I think it's in England. There was like this, or in
Oh.
France, I don't remember exactly, but there was just like a bunch of people like they couldn't stop dancing, you know.
Wait, yeah. This is kind of the
Like
mass hysteria thing.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
there
and
was one
like
for laughing.
and you think it's just like something in the food that just happened, you know, like some yeah,
I think there's that element maybe, but then I also heard it's like a psychological thing of like it just kind of takes over almost like a virus. Like like as soon as everybody's doing it, you're kind of just going along for the ride. It just
Mhm.
takes on a life of its own. But yeah, I
Sounds
heard about these stories both about dancing and about laughing. Like there was just a and maybe some people died. Was that a thing? Do you know?
Probably
I heard that also that some people died because people were just like
dancing too much.
dancing all over the place and everything was going crazy. I don't know. It's just I'd have to look into those more.
that sounds like some kind of horror story shit. Got
Yeah.
got this mass hysteria going, join us.
Yeah, it's the Dancing Plague 1518. Uh, Case of dancing mania that occurred in Strasbourg, modern day France.
It was in Strasbourg.
Yes, or Strasbourg,
Yeah, dude,
B-O-U-R-G. Yeah.
that's right near here where I live.
Oh, okay.
Right, it's right across the border. I'm
So
over in
I mean, it
Germany.
wasn't that big. It said somewhere between 50 and 400 people took to dancing for weeks. There are many
Weeks.
theories behind the phenomenon, most popular being stress-induced mass hysteria suggested by John Muller. Other theories include ergot poisoning. Okay, that yeah, what we
What
spoke about.
what would
There's,
they have been so stressed about?
I mean, life was pretty brutal back then, from what I gather. Is
Oh, it was like way back in
For
the
killing each
day.
other for no
if yes,
reason. Yeah.
1518.
Oh, okay. So they were just stressed because 10 of their children died or something.
I
Yeah,
it
it's
could
horrible.
be among
That would be pretty stressful.
yeah. But yeah.
Helgi, you need to get on this automatic camera thing, dude. This is
Okay, wait, how do
such
you
an
do this?
upgrade.
You gotta.
This video at the bottom.
Okay, let me see.
Arrow above. We're
Go for
We're
it.
gonna
upgrading.
join the
We're
crowd. So,
upgrading the UX, the UI here for the
is it the
show.
auto frame?
Yes, auto
Okay.
frame my video. There
Whoa,
we go.
Okay.
it was
Looking like a
kept.
boss
Jump
now.
cut.
Okay, let's see
All
how
our
it goes.
heads are in exactly the right height.
Ah, there we go.
Amazing. We're upgrading the UI
Constantly
of the
evolving.
Hewkii and Flammeus show. Thank
Yeah.
you, Zoom, for that feature. Um,
Soon we're gonna be dancing around and
but is anybody taking ergot today that we know of,
And
or
it
is
is LSD. It's just nobody takes ergot. It's just
I think
synthesized. LSD is synthesized from ergot.
yeah, I heard like when you took Ergot on its own, it's more problematic. I think
toxic?
LSD yeah, I think so. It's been a while since I looked into it, but I think LSD is essentially just like a pure version, like synthesized from Ergot, which is better
Safer.
than. Hmm?
I think probably safer, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Just like the mushrooms, you know, like I think I had better times doing truffles, you know, like the lab grown mushrooms from Amsterdam, than like random mushrooms that I found in the field, you know, because it's a bit safer. It felt like I just had better times. As I remember, it was just easier to just go through the whole motion of it, you know, and still understanding a lot of stuff. But sometimes on natural mushrooms that I would find in the grass, it would be very hard and very heavy journey, you know.
It
Hmm,
depends also what
interesting.
what kind of mushrooms, because the Icelandic ones are definitely way different
Right.
from whatever you find in the Americas.
Mhm.
I'm
Maybe
trying
also
to.
who's growing it, you know, maybe like some of their vibe is going into the mushroom, and like that's possible also.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. And I think also, like, especially, it definitely makes sense to me that, like, whatever is coming from the ground kind of carries the
the energy of the land.
energy of that land in a
Of
sense,
course.
because it is part of the land.
And
Uh,
Iceland is light and beauty only, you know, of course. No, it's
What
no,
is what?
it's dark and it's
hard.
rough and it's cold, and the Icelandic mushroom it's definitely more carries a little bit more of that.
Yeah, definitely. You can feel it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That it's
100%.
like that it has a darker energy, is what you guys
Yeah,
saying? Okay.
It's
yeah,
heavier, just
it's
like
heavier.
it can go
It's
left
the
and right. It can go very like joyful and everything, but it can go very dark and very like,
It's deep and and,
yeah.
it
and
can re yeah, I mean that's almost exclusively the only type of mushroom I've tried for my journeys.
okay,
Yeah,
All
so
so
not
all
far
my
away from
deepest
Amsterdam, you should try truffles.
yeah, yeah, at least all my like really deep hero's journey doses were Icelandic mushrooms. So I would like to try something. That sounds because I've been scared of it for a while, because something tough usually comes up.
yeah, the
Um,
Icelandic mushrooms are more in that vein, and I think that from my experience, the cubensis mushrooms from the Americas,
Mhm.
there's a lot of variety of cubensis, but for me, they're usually lighter, they're more visual, and yeah, they're just not as heavy
Interesting.
for
Yeah,
me. They're
okay. I've been feeling the call to just dive a little bit more into psychedelic journeys recently, since I've been doing a lot of breath work, DMT breath work, twice a day. In the mornings, I do like a 10-minute session just to get myself started. It's a great way to start the day, feel a little better. And in the evenings, I do these hour-long sessions to put me to sleep, essentially, because after it, I just fall asleep like a baby.
Nice.
But it's a total trip. Like it's a total, yeah, it's a very psychedelic experience. And I've been making my peace with that state a little bit because I've been scared of it since a very, very bad trip I had about 5 years ago. Um, and I'm like, for the first time in a long time, just excited, genuinely excited to try out some psychedelic journeys and see where it takes me. 'Cause I feel prepared for it now after all this breath work and smoking weed and doing breath work as well. Smoking weed and going into the sauna has been a very big uh, journey catalyst as well.
If you
yeah,
feel the
man.
cold
Yeah,
answer.
exactly. If you feel it, and also you like, if there is some fear there left over from something that happened, like often that's something to potentially face or to get in contact with.
Yeah.
Because if it's still there, then it's just unresolved.
We just got such a big daddy zoom on you right now
On
with
me?
the arms behind your head,
Yeah.
flexing the biceps. We got right up in there. All right, yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah. If there's fear there, that's maybe even more of a reason to go in, but maybe with care because there could be some trauma. So
Yeah.
potentially not alone or with somebody who,
I feel like to understand myself, LSD was always better than mushroom.
yeah, for me too.
Mushroom was always like it was fun, and I understood some relationship stuff and more like human and emotional stuff. But LSD carries this like light in it more than mushrooms, you know. And mushroom can be very light and beautiful, but usually LSD is always like kind of Christ consciousness, you know. It's like you really feel like Jesus Christ at the end, and it's just like you know the path. What's the path, you know? And with mushrooms, sometimes it's just they didn't get there, you know, even with big doses.
They're much more of a wild card. It's like with mushrooms, it's like they have so much of a personality of their own
Yeah.
almost that you're kind of encountering almost this entity or this being because it's not a life form. It's kind of it's so funny to listen to Terence McKenna, like, because he grew his own mushrooms and he always had this kind of back and forth relationship with the mushroom. And he got into arguments with the mushrooms and he was like, "Hey, I grow you guys. Like, I'm in charge." But with LSD, it's not personal. It's more kind of just impersonal consciousness or light for me. It's
Light.
not, yeah, it's not. It doesn't have this kind of personality of this trickster energy that's kind of playing with you or fucking with you. It's
It's also like I think like mushrooms are so like from the ground, you know. It's like a system. It's like underground. It's under forest. It's just like such a a deep stuff where LSD is synthesized from ergot, which is like this on a grain, so it's kind of like more airy, more in a fiery also. Like it's more like it's not in the ground, you know, it's in the air kind of. It's like floating. It's linked to the ground, but it's more like just above the ground, you know. So it helps to have like a better understanding of the bigger idea of yourself and as humanity and maybe the universe, more like bigger things. And mushrooms is a bit more, it's a, for me it's a very earth thing, mushrooms.
Hmm. It is earthy, but then they also have this massive cosmic kind of alien component to them as well. You know, it's but I guess that's the thing. The Earth is a cosmic thing, and mushrooms are aliens. When we are aliens, we're just used to ourselves and we're used to mushrooms, so we perceive them as ordinary. But um, they're definitely very much of an alien life form.
Yeah, I can offer some very, very interesting and deep experiences. Hmm. It's so wild that these things just grow out of the earth, you know? It's so crazy. We just got this growing out. We just take it and it totally alters the state of our consciousness. It's absolutely
I mean, this
crazy.
there because we need it, I think, you know, like
Yeah.
maybe not like putting it in the water, like without people knowing a need, but more like if it's
Hewkii,
there's
Hewkii,
a purpose for
we'll leave Matthias out of our plans then.
Yeah, it's just we'll cross him off the list. He shan't be dosed. He's had enough.
No, no, he'll be dosed like the way he just won't know about it.
I'll know. I'll know. And I know who to point to.
Ah, darn. You got me.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, man. But what I have to offer to that thought that you're feeling the desire to explore more is like when I did 5-MeO DMT, I was like, why do I beat around the bush with the other stuff? Why don't just go for 5-MeO DMT? And that's not to say that the others don't have value, but for me it was just like, yeah, like this is,
The
you know,
others don't have value.
yes, it's I'm a 5-MeO supremacist, but
Then what's the need of like taking like psychedelics, you know? Then it's all about this oneness and this light and this like coming back to the root of self, you know, which is also attainable through meditation and yogic practice and stuff like this. So
But it takes a lot of work, Matthias, and it's boring. We just want a pill that does it.
yeah, that helps definitely.
I mean, I've heard it's a good explanation I heard from Ken Wilber. He was kind of comparing these two camps of people that do psychedelics and people that do meditation and yogic practice. And he said the people that he noticed that had gone furthest were the people that were doing both and combining them.
Exactly.
And he said the people that were just doing the psychedelics, they tended to have a lot of peak states, but not a lot of long-term um, gains to show for it. But then he said the people that were just doing the meditation and yogic practice, they didn't have the same kind of breakthrough experiences that the other ones were having. That they somehow just got a little bit stuck or were not able to go as far. And he said the people that he saw that had gone the furthest were the people that were doing both of those things.
You know, that really makes me think of saying that it's so important to just keep moving the energy all the time by like, and psychedelics are a means of doing that. They move a tremendous amount of energy in you, and you experience um, very large packets of energy and motion, as emotions, as
Hmm.
they like to say. And another way of doing this is why I love breath work, because it just moves so much energy. When you're in that breath hold, it's almost like you're gonna implode in a way, but in a pleasant way. It's very interesting. Um, the psychedelic state just it has so much like it has so much brute force essentially to just kind of move stuff around and blow everything up so you can kind of build it from scratch if you want afterwards a little bit more, and it gives you such a fresh perspective on stuff. um Yeah.
But essentially, what you are doing with the breath work is this is what I've heard. I've not confirmed this, but I've heard that essentially what you're doing is through the breath work, you're just increasing the neurotransmitters in your brain that are like DMT and 5-MeO and stuff like this you have in your brain. And when you're doing practices like this, you're just increasing the value of the quantity of those neurotransmitters in your system. Um, so essentially, you are taking a psychedelic, but it's just through different means. You can breathe it in, you can, create them through practice, but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, it is a psychedelic journey for sure, the breath work. But anyway, the point I was trying to make is that psychedelics aren't just for like getting an insight in that sense, for showing you some clever thing that you needed to know, but also for just kind of moving your energy.
Yeah,
Because
so it's dancing and so it's like, just moving. A lot of things are moving energy. The thing is just also like doing the same thing over and over again. Like if you take only psychedelics, you just get stuck and the energy is not moving, even though it looks like it's moving. Then if you go like to meditation and breath work also, then you have different means of doing the same stuff, like of moving the energy. But if
yeah,
you only
Yeah.
dance, eventually like your body would be like, stop, stop
Yeah.
dancing. Like the energy is like not moving anymore.
I think the term for this is requisite variety that
Yeah,
you
exactly.
you
Like
need.
the hobbies, like painting and music.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need to switch it up and you need a level of novelty. And if you have too much novelty, that in itself becomes not novel enough. So you need, you
exactly.
know, ordinariness um, on top of that. So it's good points for
It's
sure.
really balance. It's a balance of everything. Just don't do too much of anything, but don't do too little. You know.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
I mean, oxygen burns. Like it rusts things. So if you do too much breath work, you burn your body, and that's why you need antioxidants in your food to not die. So
Yeah,
it's the whole thing. You cannot just like get high on breathing all the time. Otherwise, you just burn up like a candle,
like
like
you
burn
mean
for
like
bright.
yeah, maybe not literally every waking second, but definitely do it twice a day.
yeah. I think that's definitely fine. And I also think it depends on people. Like I have personally a hard time with the breath work because my nervous system is not. It's just very sensitive, and that's a very intense kind of a practice.
I mean,
Um,
do you try ever like because there's like the intense like Wim Hof style and like DMT breathing and stuff, but like the I used to do the tantric breathing, which is very slow, and it's
mhm.
you're so slow and you try to go like 1 minute breathe in, 1 minute breathe out, which is I never succeeded that, but because I didn't do it so much. But you can go very long and very soft and very slow. And I think that helps me more than the intensive Wim Hof DMT vibe.
What kind of breath work were you doing in that area? Were you doing the
Just like the slowest possible, and like you breathe in
No,
very.
I mean when you did, the more intense.
What do you mean?
When you did more intense breath work than that, what kind of breath work was it? Were you doing or were you doing like breath of fire where you focus on the
Yeah, I mean, I've tried a few different things, breath of fire, like Kundalini, like breathing activations, or like Wim Hof is like the one I did the most, I think, in cacao ceremony. Sometimes we did that. And then you really see light and you start having like visions of yourself in the future and everything. And like, well, maybe not real visions of the future, but like maybe something that you would hope would happen. I don't know exactly. But yeah, this kind of things. Like, but I
Yeah.
always come back to like, I feel people need more like a soft nervous system than an excited nervous system. Like, I feel like they need
Yeah.
more soft breathing than heavy breathing.
It
Depends
doesn't
on the
Maybe.
sell. It
purpose.
doesn't sell as well though, because what sells is the more exciting,
I
faster
don't know, man. Like
intensity.
we have like crazy nervous system these days. Like we have so much stuff, and we're like insensely like
This is
all the
what I
time
mean
like
though. Yeah, it's
assaulted by stuff.
yeah, and that's exactly my point is that it's easier to sell people something that's fast and exciting because
Yeah.
it stimulates people. But it's not to say that there isn't a place for intense
No, of course not. I mean, if
intensity.
you want to wake up, breathe fast, do like short breath and like go for it and like feel the fire. Fire breathing is to build up the fire. But then if
Yeah.
you want to slow down and I think tantric breathing.
I've really enjoyed the intense hour session before bed myself. Like that really calms my nervous system. It activates it and then it calms it down. It's like it turns it on all the way and then I'm just spent and I gotta go to sleep.
Hmm.
It's really great.
And that's how the exactly why it's hard to come up with one size fits all
Exactly.
methods, because if I were to do that, I would probably be up all night because for me the stimulation just stays in my system if I do that.
Yeah?
Yeah, totally.
The one thing that like I like about breathing is like, there's like the meditation vibe where you observe your breathing, and then there's like the activating breathing, and it's more about like fire and everything. But then there's like this pleasure breathing when you really turn your breath into sensuality, and you really feel like the breath is like, oh yes, it's like golden juice like going inside of you. And like I remember going to a little festival in some country, I don't remember where, and the guy was like, I spent like 30 years meditating in an ashram, like observing my breath when I could have just transformed into pleasure and enjoy it, instead of just like observing myself and just be like. I think that also had its place to observe and to like be single pointed meditation. But I think the pleasure one is quite interesting also, like because it brings more pleasure and more love into your life to really feel your breath as, when you drink a tall glass of water after you're really like thirsty, like it really feels good. But we never really do that with breath so much. We just like breathe and that's it.
Yeah. It's kind of what you're highlighting is kind of the difference between a mechanical process and like art
Conscious.
almost, because
Yeah.
it's like if I connect this to music, you can like practice scales mechanically and just play a scale up and down, but that's very different from like playing a beautiful solo where you like bend the note and you
And you feel
do the
it.
vibrato and you feel it. And I think you can fall into the same trap with breath work, I guess, or just breathing in general. It's just a mechanical process. And
And also the ego thing also, like you play music to show off
yeah.
or to actually for your pleasure.
Hmm.
Or am I breathing to like get to a goal or to do something or to actually like feel the breath and feel the music or feel what I'm doing, and like presence and
That's a very good Ramdas story about this, where somebody he was all about the LSD in the 60s, and there was a trumpet player who was curious about trying LSD with him, and he was like, "Well, I'm a bit scared to try it because I don't know if I'll be interested in playing in playing the trumpet after doing this." And Ramdas said, "Well, it depends why you're playing. If you're playing to impress others, you're not going to be interested. If you're playing because you love it, you're gonna love it even more, or something like this." Um, and I think that's kind of getting at exactly what you're talking about. Is just why you're doing it.
yeah, live a pleasurable life.
Indeed.
Yeah, well, that feels like a great ending note to me.
Yeah, I felt the same thing.
Yeah,
Well, it was lovely having you on, Matthias.
thank you so much for
Yeah,
inviting me.
Thanks for
Like
the
first
yeah,
time on
time.
a podcast. Yeah, so very happy about it.
yeah. Welcome back anytime. It's
You did
definitely
extremely well.
yes. You're
Sure.
not getting canceled for now.
Yeah, yeah. But it's
Just
only
no,
because
no.
me and Hewkii really made sure to avoid the topics. I would have.
Let's talk about race.
Yes.
We knew what we needed to tiptoe around with you on, you know.
Yes.
Sure, 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 yeah, of course. No. Life is about love and pleasures and just living a good life, and that's what I want. So I would
Indeed.
never like hate or like it's just so stupid, to go by it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So
Amen.
he's Matthias Love, not Matthias Hate.
Exactly. Even though I've been Matthias hate sometimes.
What what? Do you feel hatred like other normal human beings?
Great.
Is that cancelled?
It's really weird. He's
Gone.
normal.
Yeah.
Kill him.
Yeah. Pew pew. Anything you want to say as closing words, Matthias? You want to make it easy for people to find you? Maybe you don't.
Oh, well, I don't know. Like, just I'm on Instagram, The Love Mountain. That's my artist name. If you're in Reykjavik, come to my dances, come to my song circles, and just if you see me in the street, say hello.
Awesome. We'll put the links in the show notes.
And we'll catch everybody next time. Thanks so much again. And bye.
Just before you leave, everybody, our outro song for today is my song "Death by Astonishment." I'm wondering, Timmy, do you notice the reference? Do you know where this phrase comes from?
No.
It's Terence McKenna, and he was talking about DMT, and he said the only danger of DMT is death by astonishment. So I stole that phrase. I think somebody wrote a book with that title also, but I think it's kind of fitting for the song. It's very kind of.
It's quite astonishing.
Yeah, it is. It's a very slow song. I think it's maybe like 80 BPM.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I'm doing a lot of melodic stuff in minor, but I never go home to the root chord.
Yeah.
And then I eventually go there and
You
doing a lot
use-
of pop.
It's like a melody
Yeah.
that lands on the 9 of a minor chord there. And,
Yeah,
very cool. And
Yes,
then
indeed.
there are a couple little things that reminded me of the Smiths when you had this doom 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 doo 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 doo, that chord progression, and there was a over it.
it's so funny because I did not know the Smiths when I made this song, but now listening to it back, I actually thought of the Smiths.
right? That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
such
yeah.
a Smiths thing to do. That movement right there.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, I was doing a lot of polyrhythm stuff. Like, if you listen to the bass in the song, it's like doing something like da ba da 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 ba 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 da 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 ba 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 da da da, which comes from progressive metal and especially like a style called gent, which is all about these kind of syncopated riffs. So I was implementing that into the electronic soundscape to kind of add more variety, because if it's just like 1 2 1 2, it's not very exciting. But if you're doing like these kinds of polyrhythms and more syncopated complex rhythmic patterns in the bass, it's people are usually not going to notice, but they're going to feel kind of the level of variety and groove to it.
Yeah,
So
I wanted to point out to anybody who's wondering, the specific song that we were talking about from the Smiths is called "The Queen Is Dead." It's the first song on the same album that ends with a very, very similar sounding bi-bi-do-do-da on the guitar over the exact same chord progression. So just if anybody was wondering, well, yeah,
yes. So
the soundscape is incredible as well. You were talking about the soundscape.
yeah, I was talking about the soundscape, and I was talking about the bass and kind of using polyrhythms in a electronic setting, which is a really cool way to make it more alive. I use it a lot, and a lot of ambience. It's one of my favorite songs that I've made, because it has like melody, catchiness, but it has also just like, it's fucking fat as fuck, and it's heavy. So it's got the whole spectrum.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's. I think you're gonna enjoy it. So
It's got the
dive in.
bounce. Yeah.